Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're going to talk about the new Batman trailer. Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent. Since we're doing a separate day, we're doing a real video for you today, and we're going to talk about the newest The Batman trailer. This one also premiered during DC Fandome. If you saw some other videos, I went to a concert in the middle of the damn thing, had to leave and drove 2 hours to go there, so I did not see anything in the second half. So I came home and watched the trailer late last night and then went to bed. And then I got up this morning and I watched the rest of DC Fandome, and I watched the trailer a second time and a third time. And I think I have some thoughts. I haven't watched any other trailer reactions. I've been just trying to keep myself to this thing. So I don't know what the real reaction out there is. I'm guessing it's probably pretty positive based on what we saw last year. And if you saw my video from last year, I fucking loved that trailer. That trailer was phenomenal. This trailer, I'm a little bit more so-so on. And I think what threw me off is the use of the same weird Nirvana cover at the very beginning of the trailer. Like, when we heard that cover, or is it the I don't know if it's a cover necessarily, but the reworking or whatever, it definitely sounds like Kurt Cobain. But that Something in the Way song, very morose, very somber, very like tone setting, that worked for the first trailer. I loved that song in that trailer. Smash cut to this year, and to start off the trailer with the same song did not get me jonesing for it. Let's put it that way. And I just kind of, it immediately triggered in my mind this thought of, are we going to get anything new here? Or, like, why are we using the same song? Like, why would you use the same song? I know everybody loved that song in that trailer last year, but it just doesn't make any sense to use the same song this year, right? So, it really took me out of it the first time I watched it, and it didn't help the second or the third time I watched it. So, while I think it's a great cover, and it's definitely used great in that first trailer, this trailer I would have taken out that song entirely, especially if you have the I feel like that's the Michael Giacchino The Batman score. Now, I feel silly having to call this The Batman because that is the name of the movie, because we can't think of any other names for Batman movies than to put the in front of everything. You know, are we going to get the Spider-Man in the next iteration of these Spider-Man movies or anything like that? The Superman? Are you going to call it The Batman Returns too? Like, it's just these weird, like, you know, just call it something else. I also kind of wondered if, like, watching this trailer, which has great moments, there was nothing in it that made me go, hoo-hoo, or oh yeah, or whoa, the way that I did when I was watching the Flash sneak peek, the Flash trailer. Go watch that video. It's like a minute and a half long. My daughter comes in at the very end from her birthday party. She's crying about something. You can hear in the background at the very end. So it's only a minute and a half because I had to go deal with that. But, like, that one I was really excited about because it looks cool. It had reveals of the suits. They weren't really holding anything back. This trailer doesn't hold anything back either, other than Paul Dano, of course, or the main plot or the mystery or whatever. I get it. We're still like a year out, but damn, it just did not get me excited to see the movie. It felt like I already know. I think I'm gonna go see this movie. You know, I'm the audience for it. Like, look at my man cave here. It's pretty ridiculous. I'm the audience for this movie, so I know I'm going to go see it. They don't have to sell me on it. What they do have to do is try and get me excited about this movie over other Batman films that I've already seen. And let's face it, we've had plenty. We've had the 4 Burton Schumacher films. We've had the 3 Nolan films. That's 7. Plus we'll count, you know, Batman v Superman as one, and maybe Justice League. So that's 9 Batman films that we've had, like live action Batman films. We'll go ahead and count Justice League as a Batman film, or we're not going to count Snyder Cut as a separate film. We'll count it as the same. Show me something that I have not seen before. I feel like maybe I might, just because this trailer didn't get me that excited, is I might be tired of the realistic, grounded approach to Batman. Something I think people really liked in the Zack Snyder stuff is that it wasn't grounded, it wasn't realistic. The suit was cool, the suit was realistic, but I kind of feel like, especially seeing this trailer now and seeing, like, I watched the rest of DC Fandome this morning, and hearing the interview with Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz, and them talking about, Matt Reeves is talking about, doing the most grounded approach to Batman as like something that's never been done before. I'm like, who are we kidding ourselves here? Has he not seen Batman Begins? I know he's seen Batman Begins. I guess that is the origin story in maybe his mind or something, and he's not doing that. He's doing what might take place. He said it's year 1, but referencing the origins, but it's not an origin story. We're fully into Batman. Great. Fine with me. I don't want to see another Batman origin story. I think Batman Begins did a great job, and unless it's 20 years from now and it's way far back in the future, like the past, that's when I think you could do a new Batman origin story movie. I still haven't seen anybody with like a better Batman origin take other than year 1. I did an overview of 0 Year, or what's it called? 0 Year. I haven't reread that yet, but that's the new Batman origin, so to speak. But it's just kind of like the most grounded version of Batman. Like, that's what Nolan was doing. Like, that's what he was doing. So I don't know why you want to like outdo what was already done in terms of like your take of doing a grounded Batman, a realistic Batman. For me, it was more realistic compared to what we had elsewhere, but maybe it was more grounded in reality with a twist of things that weren't real. At the end of the day, the Lazarus Pit never existed. In those movies, it was an alternate person that was, Ra's al Ghul. No, not anybody who had lived for hundreds of years or anything like that. It's. I think this realism thing, this grounded thing this comment he said, really contextualized for me what I did not like about this trailer, and I think it's too much of that approach. Let me put it this way. In a world where we've had 5 seasons of Gotham, which did Gotham on a television budget, and you had a shitty Batsuit in that show. You have 3 seasons of Titans, which is doing fun stuff. You still have a TV budget in terms of suits. Like, the Nightwing suit looks cool, but it's not phenomenal. Then you have The Batman, which, while looking good, and I do like the Batsuit, I do like the cowl, I think it's interesting from far away, when you get up to it and you see all the stitching and stuff, while you may think that's great, I'm like, no, I don't want to see that stuff. Maybe because I'm like, this still screams origin story to me. And if you're still screaming origin story to me, and you're still screaming the groundedness, the reality, then it's maybe something I'm less interested in. Maybe that also might be because I am so in love and invested in the Batman Begins film from 2005, which was, 15 years ago or so. That was my, like, oh my god, this is one of the greatest films ever made moment when I saw that in college. So I think maybe that's where it's coming from. Like, there's stuff in this trailer that looks great, but to me, it's all stuff we've seen before. We've seen a realistic Batmobile. Now, is this more realistic than the Tumbler? Absolutely. But we've seen a Batmobile do jumps before. I feel like Selena Kyle in this film, she looks great. And I feel like I saw snippets of like a full Lycra bodysuit or something like that. That wasn't this weird like hand-stitched Tim Burton thing, but was more gray than anything else. Maybe could have been the lighting. But at the same time, I just remembering back to the first trailer, and she had on this like, it looked like a knit cap as her cap, and I'm like, that is not going to go together in terms of like a visual identity. So I wonder if that's what's going to throw me off about this film, is just that maybe things don't really boil down to a cohesive like visual identity as much as I want them to. Does that make sense? There's this other thing, like, seeing the toys and stuff coming out from McFarlane, and the statue, just the way that this stuff is like rendered down into plastic. And like you had the reveal of the Riddler, and he's just got this green raincoat and the tape around his face and all this nonsense, and I'm like, man, this realism thing of we don't want to put a costume on anybody. I feel like we're way past that right now. And while I recognize that this Batman is in a costume and he does look great, and it is different, there's still parts of it that I'm like, why are we doing the realism thing when you have him fucking deflecting bullets walking down a hallway like he's Superman? That also took me out of the trailer. I think as the moment I was like, I don't know about this. The thing I liked the most about, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want a rubber suit. I like the Batfleck suit. It apparently allowed him to move. I like how they got the cowl to turn and all that. It was too bulky. I like the BVS version of it the most, not the Justice League all-black version. Especially the cowl. I like longer ears in my cowls. Please give Batman some fucking ears you can tell in a silhouette, because if it's too far back, he just disappears, and then you can't tell it's Batman. That's the whole point of the ears. So anyway, I'm kind of conflicted, because it's like you were doing this realistic thing, and yet Batman is walking through. It's a beautiful shot, though, like, walking through this tunnel as if he's like the Darth Vader scene at the end of Rogue One, and it's being lit by the gunfire, but the gunfire is deflecting off his chest like he's wearing a steel plate over his chest. Wouldn't that be incredibly heavy? I don't know. Like, that was the thing I liked the most about Nolan's Batman, is that it was very clear. It was like, hey, might deflect a bullet at a glancing blow, but like a straight shot, it's not going to stop it. You have all these holes in your armor, you're going to get stabbed, so you better be careful. And it made that Bruce Wayne more efficient and thoughtful, and even though we didn't really see a bunch of like fantastic action scenes with that Batman, it added to the mystique of him moving around and disappearing and things like that. This one seems like we're focusing more on the action scenes a la Zack Snyder's version, where we're seeing him like from afar and it looks like Robert Pattinson or the stunt guy beating the shit out of people in the Batsuit. That's cool, but it takes this, when you have this dichotomy of the realism and the hand stitching of the leather cowl, and then on the other side you have the Batman walking down a hallway deflecting bullets at point blank range, lighting up a hallway from a machine gun, no less, probably in like an Uzi, maybe one of those handheld like automatic guns. Like, it's just two separate poles, and I don't see how you bridge that gap of being the most grounded thing and that, other than like he's a walking tank wearing tank plate steel armor somehow in his batsuit and still being able to bend over, much less stand up. So that there, I'm like, I really don't know where we're going with this. And if I feel like if that's where we want to go with our Batman, then let's go fully there. Let's go fully comic book Batman. I know you get that in the cartoons and stuff like that, but the more and more we get these same, and I haven't seen the movie yet, but the more and more we get these same feeling trailers of the Batman, you know, going darker, more realistic than Batman Begins or The Dark Knight or whatever, the more and more I'm kind of like, you know, maybe we should go in the other direction towards the fantastical comic book version of Batman that everybody knows and loves. You know, there was something fun about the Tim Burton films that had that element of it. There was definitely something fun about it when Schumacher came aboard. As campy as Batman and Robin was, there's still an element of fun about it. You know, Batman Forever, still one of my more favorite Batman movies. You know, still something very, very fun about that film. And they're not so beholden to the realism. But, you know, Batman can still get shot. So I guess I don't really understand what this movie's going for. And if it is going for this realism, I feel like we found the giant hole of it, where he's getting shot in the chest in this trailer and doesn't even feel it. That's Superman. That's not Batman. Batman would have found a way to disarm those guys before he walked down the hallway, in my mind. That's just me. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the other thing it failed to do, well, one thing it did successfully do, let's talk about positive, is it successfully made me want to see more of Zoe Kravitz's Selina Kyle. There was more to her in this trailer. You got to see her talking with Batman. Seems like they're going to have a real relationship in this movie, as opposed to what they had in Batman Returns, which was like this weird, almost instant romance towards the end of the movie. Seems like there's going to be a lot of Bat-Cat flirting in this film, which I like in the comic books. I, you know, appreciate that. So if they're going to go that route, cool. That was one of the cooler things about the Telltale series Batman video games, was this relationship with Selina Kyle. So I really do think that's going to be something very cool, and I'm very interested to see more of her as that character. Riddler, we saw very little of. Saw very little of Alfred with, oh gosh, the guy Andy Serkis, who just directed Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and did a pretty good job at it. Saw very little of that. I feel like that would have gone a long way if we'd gotten a really cool Alfred moment. Maybe more Riddler to make it more interesting, you know. Something else it did not do was like set up the Penguin. I mean, you have these basically two lines from the Penguin. I don't know how much Colin Farrell's in this movie. It just was weird to choose those two moments instead of maybe more of like a more setup-y moment or something. To like, there's an element of disbelief that that's Colin Farrell as the Penguin, even though we all know it is him. But there was no, like, those two moments they showed did not really make me be like, oh, that's the Penguin. You know what I mean? As opposed to when you saw fucking Danny DeVito. I mean, that I think maybe that's where this movie is going to go wrong, is that it's choosing characters that have already appeared, and if you're not going to be that might be the definitive version if they don't succeed on their level. You know what I mean? So it gave you a lot of action, and I think maybe that's why it was empty for me, because I was looking for more character stuff like we got in the first one, because I don't want to see a bunch of action. I'm kind of more interested in the characters and seeing those new takes on those things. So maybe that's why it felt kind of hollow and empty for me. This was the action trailer as opposed to the mood or the character trailer that we got last year. So, you know, and if you're going to do another trailer, change a fucking song. So let's end it there, guys. Let me know down below. Am I totally off base? Am I totally wrong? I'm still excited to see this movie. I'll still wear my The Batman shirt I got last year from DC Fandome. But this trailer did not do it for me. So I'm going to go back and rewatch maybe that first trailer a bunch of times and instead of this one. Who knows? But let me know down below in the comments what you guys thought of this trailer. Am I totally off base? Am I totally wrong? And we will see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.